Hi everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the aorist participle. So last video we discussed the present participle. This is now the aorist participle. The key thing about the aorist participle is that it must refer to an action before the action of the main verb. So action must take place before that of the main verb. Okay? So let's say we have a timeline. Okay? So here we got a little timeline. Let's say this is the action of the main verb. It happens then. Then the aorist participle must refer to an action that happens before then. So, like here, this event, but it's before. Whereas the present participle refers to an action at the same time, so it has to refer to, well, the exact same time, so the exact same point. And then we'll look at the future in another video, but obviously that's going to refer to an action that takes place after that of the main verb. So that would be here in the future. So take the example, having eaten our meal, we left. Having eaten our meal, we left. So we can have a comma there to separate the two clauses. But having eaten our meal, the having shows that the eating of the meal is happening before these people are leaving, or we are leaving, okay? So we can imagine the leaving to happen there, let's say, and the eating, because it's having eaten, that's going to happen before, so it's going to refer to that point, or indeed any point here, but, before that of the main verb. See, if it was something like, while eating our meal, we left, that would actually happen at the same time, so that's going to use the present participle. Instead of saying having, you could also say something like, after we had eaten our meal, we left, or even when we had eaten our meal, we left. Because even with the use of the word when, although it seems like they're happening at the same time, there is still an implicit delay between the two actions. So I hope now you understand when we use the aorist participle, but now we need to know how to form it and how to spot it. So the aorist participle uses basically just the aorist stem. So we already discussed how to form the aorist indicative, like epausa. Well, here you just take off the augment from that and the ending, so you're left with paus, okay, which we've got here. Right, the stuff that I'm highlighting, right? Paus is therefore the stem, and then we add on these endings. Actually, no, you can't see that. But we add on these endings. As, anta, antos, anti, antes, antas, antone, asi. Okay? So you've got the stem pausant. That is your stem. And you get to that, just to cover it all once again, by getting the aorist indicative epausa, removing the augment to get pausa, removing the endings to get paus, and then adding on these relevant endings. So that's for the masculine. For the feminine, it just goes like thalassa, and for the neuter, it's just like the present participle. It's very similar to the masculine. So you just have the shortening. You just have the nu instead of the sigma in the singular, and obviously the plural, you've got the nominative and the accusative forms ending in alpha. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the strong aorist participle. So we just mentioned we just talked about pausas, okay, which is the weak aorist participle. You recall that some verbs form weak aorist, others form strong aorist. Power obviously forms a weak aorist, it's totally regular. But now we've got to discuss how strong aorists form their participles. Now, just like the indicative, there is no difference in the meaning. Strong aorist participles, they're again always also going to happen before the action of the main verb. That's no different. The only difference is how they're formed. So you can see I've written down some notes already. But to form the strong aorist participle, you just take the strong aorist stem, which we've already discussed. That's usually quite irregular, but you just have to learn them, and it's the same as for the indicative. So for lambano, you remember how lambano telescopes to form the stem lab. And then from lab, we just add on the present participle ending. So actually that's relatively easy to remember. So there's not much extra learning there. If you already know the stem, then all you have to do is add on the present participle ending. So own for the masculine, and then obviously own, onta, ontos, onti, etc., which we've already discussed, and then feminine usa, and then neuter on. So as I said, there's no change in meaning, but just in how it's formed. So the aorist participle, just like the present participle, can be used attributively or circumstantially. I wouldn't get bogged down in what each of these terms mean, to be honest. They're not hugely important, but just remember from last lesson that a participle will be used attributively when an article precedes it, like a definite article, while a participle will be used circumstantially when no article precedes it. Okay, that's really all there is. And then apart from that, there's no change. The only difference is that it happens before the action of the main verb. That's it. So that's all there is to know about the aorist participle. Hope you enjoyed this video.